I remember the very first time I ever saw an active duty Green Beret in uniform. It was my first year in the military. I was at Green Platoon at Fort Campbell. I had just stopped at the post exchange or PX, and while walking back to my truck, I just crossed paths with a Green Beret. And I remember it because it was the first time I saw that tab and beret in person, and I could not stop looking at the tab that read Special Forces. I was like a little kid who had just met their idol for the first time but still wanted to play it cool. And to this day, I have no idea what the guy's face actually looked like. It was a classic story of my eyes are up here type of thing. But I do remember the feeling I had when I got back to my truck and I said, that's going to be me one day. The tab and beret are symbols of excellence that represent a collective of individuals or the regiment and all they have accomplished over the years. And for those that haven't been there, it can be easy to put those who wear it on a pedestal. But years later, after going through selection, after going through the Q course and serving on a team, I realized that Green Berets are just mostly normal guys who have a willingness to do extraordinary things. You don't have to be a freak athlete. You don't have to be some crazy academic scholar. You don't need to be the cool guy or the tough guy, but you do have to get the job done. In my experience, here are 3 traits that most Green Berets possess, which anyone can aim to develop on a daily basis. Coming in at number 1 is adaptability. In my opinion, this is among the most important. If you are adaptable, that means you will adapt to working in a team environment versus being tested alone. You'll maintain an open mind when presented with a unique challenge or environment and always seek a solution instead of complaining that things are different. As a Green Beret, you are going to work in a very wide range of environments. You're going to have to learn a very wide range of skills. You're going to be working with different personalities, different cultures, things like that. So the ability to adapt and work effectively in those environments is extremely important. Those that can't adapt struggle in this type of environment. Number 2, and this one's probably pretty obvious, but courage. When I looked at Green Berets, I saw these fearless men who are willing to do anything asked of them. And after being on a team and experiencing these environments, I can honestly say that being fearless is not realistic. And if we go into a situation expecting to not feel any of those feelings and then we're caught off guard when we do, it can throw us off and make us feel like we're not courageous. We're all human, which means we have human emotions and alarms of fear that sound off in our head. And in fact, these are an important aspect to our intuition and our decision-making process. The difference is Green Berets don't give into that fear. They simply acknowledge it and do it anyway. You don't have to be fearless, but you do have to take the necessary action in spite of fear. Number 3 is capability. Within the qualification course, and even more so when you get to a team, you have to learn new information and new skill sets very quickly. And this process never ends. With each new mission or school, you are fed an immense amount of information, and the ability to intake that and, more importantly, apply it is what enables you to be successful. So how can we develop these 3 simple things on a daily basis? With adaptability, one thing that has helped me is focusing on enjoying every situation no matter how bad it is. The past only exists in our memory and the future is still a figment of our imagination. The only true life we have is exactly where we're at. So even if it sucks, enjoy it. When you feel the pain of a ruck digging into your shoulders, the snap of the cold limiting movement in your fingers, or the rain as it just relentlessly falls upon you, smile. This is exactly where you want to be. Previous self 3 years ago would have killed to be in the position you're in right now. And on a daily basis, aim to remove your ego. Our egos are the biggest enemy of our adaptability. They limit this by providing us a false sense of, I know everything. We can learn from everyone around us and each new situation we're put in. Aim to leverage existing experience. There's nothing wrong with that when it's necessary, and pushing it aside to make room for new information and skills when the situation calls for it. For courage, the goal should be to limit the amount of energy we put into the potential for failure and focus on doing what it is we need to do. Jumping, for example, was something that was always unnerving for me. And I remember during my jumps in freefall school, I felt this fear arise in my mind, and I would ask myself this simple question: are you going to allow this feeling of fear to stop you from taking action? Obviously, the answer is going to be no. All your homies are jumping out of the plane. And if the answer is no, and you know you're going to act, then from that point forward, commit to the action and pay no mind to the potential dangers, because giving it energy only makes it more likely. Find peace and focus in the commitment to act. When it comes to capability, this one changes with each situation. Some individuals are great at learning new skills that require their hands, others more intellectual. Learn your study habits. For example, I know I learn information best through flashcards, particularly space repetition systems like Anki, and I learn skills when I can see someone doing it before me, aim to mimic them, and accept the constructive criticism from other people. Anyone with a sound mind can learn anything. I'm a firm believer of this, but we learn differently. So experiment with different methods, flashcards, Pomodoro technique, verbal quizzing, etc., and find what works best for you. For this, I recommend checking out the book Ultra Learning and taking principles from it and applying them, trying them out, and seeing what works best for you. We all have different study habits. We all have what works best. So finding yours and refining it over time is what's going to enable you to learn those new skills very quickly. Now, these traits cannot be developed overnight. Like anything, it's a stair-step process, and we get better and are able to accomplish more and more the stronger these muscles become. Seek opportunities to implement, remove the ego, and act as if it's only a matter of time, not if. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next video.